I've filled in this second leaf with just one layer of graphite so that I could see where my petals were. And I'm going to start building some of the values on these petals and see which ones have to come forward and see if I have to leave some of the areas that are the lightest areas on the petals using the white paper. I may go back afterwards and tone them back some more. But at this point, I'm going to leave all the lightest areas pretty white and then make a judgment after that. At this point, I have quite a bit of this leaf filled in to the darkness that I think I want it. But if I look at my reference, I can see that the veination that I have in here is still too light, but I'm not finished putting in darks. So I'm going to continue with my darks first, and then I'm going to go back in, and I'm using a 2H pencil at this point in order to get these darks to the level of value that they need to be. I'm going to tone back the veins in order to get the right value for those veins, because otherwise if I leave them too light, they're going to look a little bit too strong. So I'm going to fill in this area a little bit more, and then I'll show you just how you need to go over the veins again. I don't use the soft pencil that I'm using on the blade. I go back in with a much harder pencil so that I can control the amount of value that I add to those veins before these leaves are finished. Remember what you learned about doing leaves, that you have a shadow usually on one edge of the midrib, and then you either have shadows under the secondary veins or you have them on top of the secondary veins, depending on the side of the leaf that is catching the light. And you can pretty much tell that just by the way that the light hits the surface of the leaf. Now I've switched to a much softer pencil now to get these edges nice and dark, feather them out from that midrib. You don't want to leave a line. You want to always blend it out so that it doesn't get too dramatic looking. Right now there's this very strong contrast between the veins and the blade of the leaf. So we're going to go back in with a harder pencil and tone everything back. All right, so now I'm going to go back to like a 4H pencil, and I'm going to go over the entire leaf, not just the veins, the entire leaf. And you can see how the veins now are starting to recess a little and look more in character with the way the leaf should look. Now I'm going to leave this area a little bit lighter, and as I go down here, and I'm not ready to do that yet, this section here will start to get dark again. So this becomes the highlight area. Here under the petals, definitely need more value. But use your harder pencil for this so you don't put down too much right away. And just make sure that you have nice clean edges between your shapes. So you can see how that vein starts to recede now. And if you feel it's not dark enough, go back in and go darker still. So I just need to finish this area to make it much darker. Now I filled in most of the blade, and I'm just going to start toning back the veins in the bottom part of this flower. Again, I'm going over the entire area again so that everything works together. Make sure as you do this that your edges are nice and clean. You just want to suggest that veination, especially these secondary veins that are quite thin. But I'm going to work on these petals at this point. I am leaving some of the white just so that I get nice contrast between these dark areas. So there you have it, and I think you should be able to work on this on your own at this point. Remember that your stem, you can just take and put little flicks of marks, more or less with a softer pencil, maybe a 2H. Be sure the pencil is sharp so you don't get big fat lines. You just want tiny little marks, and those indicate the shadow side of those little hairs. I would not put any hairs in the highlight area, just in the areas that have a little shadow, and these should be quite fine. And they can be different amounts of pressure, so some of them are a little darker than others. Try to give them some variety so that they're not all the same thing and become a pattern rather than little fine hairs. Okay,